Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I have on my screen over here a name that honestly should probably be shunned in the gacha space, and that is going to be Mr. Steamed Bun X. And if you're not familiar with who Steamed Bun X is, he's pretty much the one single source of the most misinformation you can possibly find about numerous gacha games, numerous gacha companies, but namely, the topic of discussion for today is going to be Kuro Games. I would consider Steamed Bun X to be one of the premier Hoyo shills, one of the biggest defenders, and one of his side hobbies is actually just going ahead, finding non-English information, mistranslating it on purpose, and then using that to spread doom posts about Wuthering Waves. If you think that there's anybody else in the space that does this as frequently, you'd be wrong, because with the simple help of Google Translate, you can identify that, well, what he's saying is complete bullshit. And so the latest example of this, and don't worry, we'll go through his track record, the latest example of this is him going ahead and analyzing the language behind some new patents that Kuro Games has come out with. And as you can see over here, this post kind of popped off, right, from the Twitter viewership angle, 22.7k views. It has 30 likes. It's 15 bookmarks. Probably because there's 15 people out here looking like, hey, look at this absolute idiot. And so why don't we just go ahead and break down why this is getting ratioed so damn hard. Kuro just got 2 patents. Patent 1 basically lets them use AI to mash up parts of existing game characters to auto-generate new ones. It's not innovation, it's algorithmic plagiarism with a shiny label. Wow, doesn't that sound kind of crazy at first glance, ladies and gentlemen, right? Yeah, this makes Kuro Games seem like an evil company that's gonna go ahead, start looking at the character models, take a little bit from Genshin, take a little bit from HSR, and just put in, no work at all, no money into the development, and just, churn out new units. Very, very evil mastermind sort of situation we got going on over here. Then we have patent number 2. It's about a system they made to track which games are trending, so they can buy up their keywords. You search for a popular game and Wuthering Waves shows up instead. Straight up attention hijacking. From what it sounds like over here, we got our friend Steamed Bun X not exactly sure what search engine optimization actually is. Probably he means like, oh gosh, you looked up adventure game and you found Wuthering Waves. Holy, what? They have ads? They have ads for Wuthering Waves when I looked up a different game? So I think that this is just him. There's probably going to be somebody correcting this as well. There's 53 comments. Why don't we take a look at this and break down what exactly is making people so adverse to this guy's ideas. So this is in relation to that second point over there. The advertising practice has recently been made illegal by new Chinese law. But before this, you would see woo-wah when searching for pretty much any anime mobile game. It's showing up in the related searches as it is also an anime mobile game. Is pretty much something that makes sense. Oh, it looks like it's happening literally everywhere on every single platform in any way possible. This over here is Steamed Bun X, basically, again, talking about ads and search engine optimization, and again, spreading misinformation about Chinese laws, and again, stuff that's in Chinese, because he just assumes that people aren't going to translate it at first glance. So that's the second point over here, completely invalidated. Now let's look at the first one, right? Because this one's a little bit more scary. It's about AI. It's about this whole idea, right? That Kuro's going to be stealing the intellectual property, not giving credit, not giving money to those that they're that are the victims of this thievery. And I guess it turns out that, well, somebody actually just found the source and they Google translated it. And what it literally means is it has no mention of artificial intelligence, that first patent, but it's literally the same exact thing as music sampling, as someone else mentioned in the comments. Kuro is not allowed to fully steal a model, as it would break copyright law even in China. And China actually has a severe number of AI protections. Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest things that China actually does. I know a lot of people talk about it, but AI protections is kind of one of their big things. They do it for voice actors, they do it for a lot of different industries, and this is just another example of one of them. You can probably just tell this entire argument, everything going on over here, the rampant attempt to spread misinformation, it has been quelled. But what we know for certain is that Steamed Bun X is going to do this again, over and over and over again. Because I think all you have to do is just look up under this guy's profile. You look up the word Kuro. Oh, wow. HSR had images showing up during the redemption codes, and then Woowa had images showing up during the redemption codes. So it must be that Kuro's stealing. We're talking about Kuro messing up using Unreal Engine 4. We've got Kuro using AI because they have Galbraina posing like this. And apparently, according to Steamed Bun X's elementary experience in Blender, it's not physically possible to pose like this in real life. This is a level of retardation that I don't think anyone in their right mind could have ever experienced. He is so unfamiliar with what a woman's body looks like that he assumes a pose like this is actually physically impossible and will result in this in real life. He is this unaware of how physiology works that he assumes that this has to be AI generated, because in a 3D modeling program, this is what ended up happening when he tried to move the joints and the skeletons in a certain way. Do that pose? No, I'm good. And bro over here looks at one strand of an artwork, and there's nothing even noticeable here to point out to claim that AI is being used here. So you can see that there's a trend. This guy is pretty active about spreading misinformation. I think he has a literal fetish for other companies using AI so that he can go ahead and get his little 2-inch microscope out, which he typically uses on the downstairs, to go inspect every single bit of what these developers are doing so he can go ahead and try to paint them as thieves. And this is the whole situation over here. It's not just AI, it extends even further. As you're all pretty familiar, or you might be familiar, Steamed Bun X is a person that naturally, because I am a Wuthering Waves creator, I make Wuthering Waves videos, he had a fetish about a month ago about claiming that I'm spreading misinformation, that I'm saying all these different things. But one video that I want to focus on, this is all just full of bullshit, by the way, if it's not abundantly clear based off his track record. One thing that I want to talk about in particular, that's probably the most glaring example of it all, is him talking about Wuthering Waves' HP inflation. And this over here, this video is up for a reason, right? Because naturally, I made a video talking about how Wuthering Waves' HP inflation is not really there at all. It's a crazy small percentage, and then buffs to the characters have also come in the form of Nightmare Echo, so on and so forth, all of that good stuff. And Steamed Bun X couldn't take that. He couldn't take that Wuthering Waves was managing HP inflation so well over a year into launch relative to his favorite Hoyo games. And he decided, man, I need to make a hit piece against this game. I need to show how easy Shiyu defense is. I need to show why Woowa's endgame is so insanely hard. And this is an example of the types of teams and footage he was using. One thing you'll notice over here is that in a lot of the B-roll that Steamed Bun X decides to show as proof that the TOA is really, really, really hard is, what do you guys notice over here? That seems a little bit off. As he's showing off how difficult these clears are. Yeah, it's the fact that the characters, the weapons, the skills, all of that were for level 80 units. He went into the max difficulty, the max level endgame modes with level 80 units. And if you don't know how level restrictions work in Wuthering Waves, if you're level 80 and you're going up against like hazard zone enemies, you'll deal around 30% less damage. Just straight up. You have like a minus 30% on all of your output, as well as having lower motion values on your skills, and of course, less base attack, all of that bundled into it on both the weapon and the character. And he just repeatedly goes ahead. You can see a level 50 Mortify over here. This Gion happens to be level 90. But yeah, you're basically over here using one of your damage dealers, your sub DPS, is level 50. And Mortify in the Mortify Gion team deals a pretty good amount of damage, and this is not a fusion resistant boss. He knows so little about these games, yet he's so willing to throw all of these different accusations out, and of course, right, try to paint the claims that I'm making as absolute misinfo. And the thing is, he doesn't just do it one time, he does it multiple times across this video. And you want to know the best part about it? Bro had to go out and address it himself, but he still keeps the videos up. Looks like I made some mistakes in my latest video when it comes to footage, which I apologize for. To amend that, I'll have to make a follow-up for that, to make things as clear as possible. I'll be looking for the best showcase of Shiyu Defense 7 in the Hazard Towers. You want to know how long it's been since he made that post? It's been a month. So you either should delete the video and keep the post up, or just delete the post and then also delete the video, because it's kind of crazy that we were on our groove, right? We're like, oh, we're gonna take down these woo-wah dogs so easily, brother. We make a post talking about how we're gonna clap back against the false claims that are made against him, and then a month later, he's got absolutely nothing. This is the type of person, the type of creator that Steamed Bun X actually is. This is the type of content that he's going to go out and try to curate for his audience, which I don't even know if it exists, to be honest. But one thing for certain is that this guy has a taunt value. His posts are so stupid that people can't help but to open these up and read them just to see actually how stupid they are. He's a specimen. It's like going to a zoo and then seeing an ostrich with two heads. Even though you probably don't actually like seeing an ostrich with two heads, you're gonna spend some time observing just because you're like, wow, this is kind of fucked up. And I think that's kind of how every single person in this space currently treats or should treat Steamed Bun X. And hopefully we provided all of the evidence, all of the proof, all of the different sources of information over here that should pretty much give you the idea that this guy is one of, if not the biggest clown in the gacha space. Actual translation by somebody that does know Chinese from my chat. We got Machor over here. The first one is to enhance character model design. It didn't mention AI. And the second one says search engine IP infringement detection based on big data. IP infringement detection is a lot different from this claim about stealing keywords. And so I guess we're all hypothetically wrong over here, but I'm pretty sure even the accusation that he came up with in the first place isn't even something that makes sense as an accusation at all. It's pretty much misinformation in every single way possible when it comes to Steamed Bun X's translation of whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. Looking for examples of an actual organization that uses AI in their own artworks, you know, the same accusation that Mr. Steamed Bun X is coming out with in regards to Kuro Games, you don't have to look much further than, well, Steamed Bun X's favorite company. Because if you're all pretty familiar with Genshin Impact, they release promotional artworks all the time. And one artwork that they did for a Scoffier's release featured Navia. And of course, right, well, she had 6 fingers. 1, 2, the thumb, index, thumb, middle, 2 ring fingers. Oh, maybe she has 2 wives. And then the 6th pinky over there. And then it was later modified to, of course, condense the number of fingers. Because naturally, right, I don't think her having 6 fingers is canon. So that's just how it goes. Oftentimes, the ones accusing others of all of these things, why do you think they're doing so much accusations? Because they're trying to cover what's actually going on internally. But Steamed Bun X isn't even employed by Hoyoverse, so I don't know why he's doing this. At the end of the day, I'm just hoping that I think people are beginning to recognize this, because again, 22K and 30 likes is pretty much exactly what we should be looking for. Because, let's be clear, I don't think anyone believes this guy. And if you do believe this guy, I think that's just a self-admission that you have at least 3 or 4 different disabilities. With a little bit more work, you might be able to collect the 5th Infinity Stone. Let me know what you all think about this one, ladies and gentlemen, and peace.